So here's another fun part. You see, I paused the other video. You know, like I said, okay, a friend is here. The friend came here. I'm like, yeah, stop a friend. Stop for the video and pause. And then, you know, because they have a new feature in the iPhone. You can pause it and continue the video. And then I'm like, okay. So I keep pausing one of it. And she's like, what happened to your pool? It's like pea soup. It's so green. What's going on? I'm like, yep, it's green. All right. And then she's like, you had some sharks. You had some shark, the pool shark. And I'm like, I did before, but I was planning to add some more today. But then again, I got busy and didn't remember to. I forgot. So I was like, yeah. So she said, add some sharks because now it's algae. Listen, in the summertime it's hot. And I'm like, you know, yeah, why not? A shot. So, pea soup pool is taking some good old shark in the meantime. Yeah, later on I'll probably do a backwash and clean it out again. You know, not today, you know, but just after add some more stuff. I'm gonna take it, really let it get a quick sample and see how it is, and you know, Leslie's pool and see. But at least we add some sharks to it, and it's like it's actually making it. You see, starting to make little color change with it. It's starting to fight the algae and stuff. So I guess those conditions do work. The stuff was all dirty before, green and stuff. It's coming along, so let's see. Looks like it's clearing up. I put two big scoops, you know, the big tub containers. Because I'm like, if you're gonna be running, might as well make it run good and give it a good fighting chance, right? Like life, right? If you're gonna go through all this stuff and see all the craziness there, might as well get involved and do something, add something to life, right? Put something in there, make it work. Make out the suction working to kind of agitate the water and stuff. Yeah, gotta give it a good fighting chance. Look our life. So I was saying, and then I'm like, well, I came back and said the video stopped. I'm like, should I bother continue the video? Should I bother like that? Or should I start over from scratch and think it over? What do you think? Should I have started it over? Because I'm going to try to combine and splice them together by the time you see this. And I'm like, why bother just starting over? Just, maybe I'll put that one up by itself. And I'll do a second part. That one, he didn't finish the whole thing. There was but Joseph and his coat, and then his brothers did him wrong. Yeah, sometimes I split it, I break them up because it's so big and it's so hard to kind of combine them. It's like in terms of memory wise, it's easy to just put them up as one, two. So I'm not trying to make more videos. I would like to get more viewers than videos, you know. But I'm not, you know, but it's you know, and then again, not just my benefit, but just to help us, to help the whole business, to help get the message out, you know. But then I'm like, sometimes put the video for either to upload. Maybe I'll try to join together if it's not too long. So let's continue, all right? By the grace of God, let's continue. Still working on breakfast. I'm still here. You're getting to see remember we call it eye and I keeping it real. Like, oh, it's on 1.3 magnification. So that means you might have seen my big head again. I'm all over the place. Let me delete this one. Should I? Or not? Well, if you're watching it, I didn't. So I'm just saying, make the bloopers. Keep the bloopers. Keep the bloopers. It is what it is. Make it as it is. So let's finish what we're doing. Let's just see. I'm letting you get a little see into my world, how what my life is like in here. Trying to keep it all together here. Keep it good. Get the food here. I like a fork and a spoon because, you know what they call a spork. Remember back in the high school, there's a spork. You had the fork at the end of it. That was a very nice idea. Very good idea. You're happy enough to get the spoon to catch it and the fork. Because sometimes you're like, I need one to poke it because sometimes the fork doesn't catch all the stuff and the rice falls inside and make a mess. And I'm all like covering myself like, you know, I need a bib too. You got a man bib? You get a man bib? With all that stuff. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I think you guys like the chaos, right? Organized chaos. I know, God's a God of order and stuff. I know. God's word is fine. It's not fine. It's just me. I got issues over here, you know. I got to get things together here. I'm fighting the ants. I'm fighting the heat. Doing stuff, and I'm trying to get this stuff. And this phone is watching me like, well, thank you for sticking around. If you watch this video, telling you like, I ain't turning off. This guy is crazy, man. Oh, this guy's silly. If you get a good laugh, God bless. If you enjoy it, even better. As long as you're enjoying it too, God bless. So let's continue. I'm not done. Okay? We're talking about Joseph. Going through calamities, everything he went through, sold. Well, I ain't tell you that. Just say Joseph went through a lot. Who's Joseph? You'll find out. This gentleman went through a lot, as many of us do. In the book of Genesis chapter 37. Genesis chapter 37. We went through a lot in this life, as many of us do, and you say, well, what's happened to our life? How shall we fare? I'm reading a combination between the app and the book itself. Old Testament, King James Version. Let's see. Joseph. Let's continue, Joseph. Let's see where we are.
Spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh.
Oh yes, oh yes. What I'm going to tell you in the other video. So the brothers now turn against the one brother. So you got 10 against 1. Benjamin is, I don't know, Benjamin will get involved in all that stuff. Benjamin is is a good boy. Benjamin's not part of that. But they, they, they did wrong to Joseph. And look what they sold him to. The Ishmaelites. Where does that name come from? Ishmaelites. Oh, from Ishmael, descendants of Ishmael. Who was Ishmael? Ishmael was Abraham's firstborn son through Hagar, the handmaid of Sarah. When Sarah decided to try to help God out, so listen, maybe God will send a promise to her, as a custom was, you can have the baby. Someone can be like a surrogate. But this one was they tried to help God out, and it didn't turn out too well. So Ishmael came out, was born, and then, but while pregnant, and even after, Sarah was despised by the servant. She was kind of mocked by the one. She had a baby, and you couldn't have a baby back then. He's like, they feel like, you can have a baby? Ooh, you're cursed by God. Ooh, poor thing. You couldn't have a descendant, a baby, a child of your own? Something's wrong with you. And so women took it very bad when they couldn't have a child, especially a son, a male, So Sarah was mocked, and Ishmael was not the best behaved child, born from the Egyptian Hagar. They said be careful of the union you hook up with, because children can be affected by who you meet up with, when you put the two together. And then later on, they had to send her away. They sent Hagar away with her son. And God decided to bless him. God said, I'm going to bless him too, because you're a descendant of Abraham, I'll bless your seed, I'll bless you. You'll have kings coming out of you. So Ishmael, from what we understand, Ishmael became the leader and the father of the people in the Arab nation, the Arabs, in the Middle East. So it's like, But then Abraham had another son, Isaac, the chosen son. The one that God said, that's the one he will be between him and Sarah. As God, when he giggled, he said, who's laughing? Sarah said, no, it wasn't me. You did laugh, But, she got laughed in her old age. Isaac was born to Abraham and Isaac. Remember Isaac, the one God told him, go sacrifice as a test? God don't want people to go killing people like that, Don't like no male people sacrifice. So people tell me, you got to sacrifice children to Moloch and sacrifice children for God. I don't know what God that is, but not my Jesus God. That's somebody else. That's to the devil. There's no need. God don't need us to go killing our people and sacrificial offerings to give it to Him. He said the cows and the cattle and hills, everything is His. Why He needs a sacrifice of blood sacrifice, a human sacrifice? He wants us to render our heart, not our garments. Render our heart means let us pretend as if we sacrifice in His heart. And the sacrificial system of God had been tended of the animals, were there to show that, hey, you're making an innocent creature pay the price for your sin, as Jesus was going to be doing for us. So He said, do you want to have these poor animals suffer and die for you all the time? You want to just stop sinning, as Jesus is asking us to do. Stop sinning. So that was what the sacrificial system was about. Okay? Pointing to Jesus' final sacrifice, the lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. Isaac was a symbolic, right? It was a symbolic one. Abraham's act of trying to sacrifice his son was almost like how God would have to sacrifice Jesus for the world. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different Jesus-type characters in the Bible. And you don't see Jesus' name mentioned in anywhere in the Old Testament. But later on, you hear it in the New Testament, when He's born to Mary and Joseph. But His character was around in the Old Testament. Remember, He made the world, He made the earth, He made everything. But you don't hear Him mentioned. But God, you hear more of God the Father and the angels, and a lot of actions going on there. Then when Jesus came in the New Testament to show us what the Father is and who He is, remember He said, Jesus, when the disciple asked Him, show us who the Father is, and He said, have I been with you that long? And you asked me to show you the Father? If you see me, you see Him. You see what's going on. I'm like, oh. So Jesus came to show us what the Father is like and what we should be like Him now, how we should live. Because we keep saying before, we can do it. The Old Covenant, the Old Testament said we can do it. Jesus said, you said you can do it, but you lack the faith and the strength. You didn't rely upon me, Him. So now we are now told to rely upon Jesus to make it happen. So the disciples carried on the message, and we're now given the Great Commission to carry on the message as well. So long story short, you're hearing what happened to the story, and you see how the stories come together. The Ishmaelites were from the firstborn of Abraham, and then they had problems and beef with the Isaac. And then later on, Isaac's descendants, right? Esau and Jacob, right? Jacob was persecuted by the Edomites, which was from Esau. Family persecuting family. Again, when Jesus came here, who was He persecuted by? Wasn't He by the church family? The scribes and the Pharisees, and His own brothers and sisters didn't respect Him as much as they wished He could? Who are you? You better than us? Remember that? Well, God says, the personal enemies will be those of his or her own household. Sometimes we get treated better by those on the outside than those on the inside. So shame. So sad, huh? Who killed Abel? Was it not Cain? It wasn't some random stranger. It was Cain, his own brother. A lot of times, families will do things to you. Family and so-called friends will do things to you, thinking they're doing God justice. Didn't God tell us also in the last days there are many people who do you harm, thinking they're doing God justice? I'm feeling my fingers for all these lumps and knots in my fingers. I'm like, what is this one? I'm banging my fingers somewhere. I don't know what it is. I get banged up everywhere, fingers, toes, and hands everywhere. I don't know which next lump. Where the lump came from? All my fingers are all crusted and busted. Show must go on. We don't stop. Okay? So let's continue where we at. I'm over here yakking, but the show must go on. But I'm just saying, you can see all these stories tie together because we're trying to say, well, ask ourselves, why did God put these stories in the Bible? This is life. Life don't stop because we have other issues we got to sort out here. This jumble mess right here. Life still works, and God's message can go in between all that stuff, mess of our life. He can make it work, okay? So let's continue. Genesis 37, Old Testament. Let's hear about descendants of Jacob. And what happened to the descendants of them and Joseph? What happened to Joseph? What his brothers did to him?
And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren, and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no.
They lied.
And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days.
One thing we have to also understand, those kind of places where they lived back then, we're fortunate to not have lions and tigers and bears and cheetahs and leopards running around the place. But I see videos and stuff on YouTube where they have lions and leopards and stuff. I mean, in Africa they have those, yeah, but even in places like India and some parts, some countries where they have lions and leopards and other stuff, they roam in the countryside. They live there. Tigers, Bengal tigers and stuff. I mean, leopards attacking dogs and attacking animals. I'm like, so there are places where people still live where their animals are still roaming through the countryside and stuff, bears and stuff too, which can attack you. So back then, it was understandable that a lion or something could kill the person and drag them off to feast on them later on. I see leopards killing caiman and alligators and stuff like that. So I'm saying they can actually attack a human. I mean, I'm sure they might attack human. They want food. After sin, everything changed. They're not scared of humans that much anymore. They attack you, so be careful. But I'm saying, so you can understand why Jacob thought maybe they did kill my son. Even if goat's blood and stuff smells different, and goat smells rank and a different kind of musk. It's like I could understand. And these brothers lied in a conspiracy to their father, said that Joseph was gone and devoured. I mean, how could you do that? Would anybody lie? Why would they lie like that? God says lying lips are abomination. You think these same boys, weren't they told to be good Christian boys and to be good upholding citizens of the society? Weren't they the same ones that have to destroy another group, the men of Shechem, for when they assaulted and one guy raped the sister Dinah, the daughter of Jacob? Didn't they destroy a nation for that? So how could they know to do good and they don't do it? Why did they decide to do bad and make a conspiracy? Just because of jealousy and envy, because they find their brother keep talking about all these dreams and stuff? I don't see Joseph doing things like to harm them, to pranks on them, and to curse them, and to heal them. Just because he's talking about his gifts and the dreams that God has given him. So just because you're talking, you're a threat. Does that sound familiar? Are we living in such a time again where to talk or to have wrong think is a threat? Freedom of speech, censorship, doxing, swatting, conservative, liberal, all that kind of stuff. People now, the purge, the people don't want us to talk. People don't want us to speak. Don't you dare look so happy and show things. Don't try to find corruption and crime and stuff. What are they doing to Elon Musk and everything? What are they doing to Trump and everybody else? Don't you dare try to expose all graft and theft and things. What about the people crossing the border and stuff, and then you try to round them up and and try to make sure that people are not violating the law and flaunting the law. Judges and other people are obstructionists trying to block the administration and ICE and block them. They're trying to let lawlessness go run amok, and they don't want to stop it. So crime and violence is okay. And there's a double standard of justice, the hypocrisy. Some of them do what they want, but we don't have anybody to fight for us, until God decides to intervene and step in. But it's like you can feel the frustration, the anger, and just the vitriol sometimes people have, because like crime seems to run rampant, wickedness seems to be rewarded and given free sway, and humanity and goodness and righteousness is suffering. But we still have to give up. We got to keep fighting on. God says, "Give way, vengeance is mine." We will take care of it. And even in this story, you will see later on that God used even a bad situation to turn around to save nations, literally to save nations through the action of what the brothers did wrong. So it doesn't mean to do wrong and then God will make them good of it. We're saying that even in wrong, God can make good of it. So we're saying God is good. He knew this would happen. He knew these things are there. He didn't tell them this will happen, but he gave them a dream in advance, tell them, hey, this is what's going to happen. And instead of them saying, let's make an inquiry and see what this dream means. Sun and the stars and the moon and the sheaves bending to them sheaves. What does it mean? God is trying to give them a message. But were they listening? Are we?
And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, and captain of the guard.
You think Joseph life get easy after this, right? He's gonna have an easy life now. He's in Egypt. Everything is there and wonderful.
Genesis 38.
Yeah.
And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her, and went in unto her, and she conceived and bare a son.
Was he married to her? The term "went in unto," it's like intercourse. It's what men and women do to make children. For those young watching, parents, that's how you have children, right? But they had prostitution back then. Sadly, they call them whores and harlots. And a lot of women, sometimes to make money and to have an income or something, they would sell their bodies or just do this, and just to get around, just to make it. But at the same time, they said it's called the old trade. Back then, people who were going to satisfy their lustful passions will go into the body and do something, God doesn't condone that, does not like it. Prostitution or whoredom, He wants us to all be married and monogamous, not polygamous. Monogamous, have your own husband and wife. No fornication, no premarital sex. Be good. Save what you have for your husband and wife. You'll have more fun and go at it and have all the fun you want and make all the babies in the world. Be fruitful and multiply. But not outside of the context of God. He said it's good for a man not to touch a woman not to touch a man. And you're not saying, don't say touch it. Not saying that, but he's saying don't go get into illicit sexual relations with people who are not your husband or wife. But these same sons of Jacob, what God said, the 12 tribes of 12 tribes. Do you see that their record was not all clean and perfect? Can any of us relate to what Judah has just done? Go having sexual relations with a woman that's not his wife? We heard one son already went and slept with one of his father's wives. One wife. Man, what else is going on there? And this is the sentence. This is where we came from, the history. Do we see that sin has been around for a long time? And why didn't the body put it there? Why did God put this story in the Bible? And then why you don't hear these kind of stories mentioned in many of the circles? Many of them trying to give us a certain narrative. You don't hear them saying what happened, what went on there. But the Bible tries to give us as much as possible detail as possible to tell us the characters of the people that came before us, our forefathers, the patriarchs and prophets, and to see, hey, are we going to do the same and deal with the consequences of what they will deal with or dealt with? Or are we going to do differently? So there's a reason why God put these stories there. Let's see. Are they relatable?
And he called his name Er. And she conceived again and bare a son. She called his name Onan.
So twice he had two.
And she yet again conceived and bare a son.
3 now.
And called his name Shelah. And he was at Chezib when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for Er, his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Er, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord.
Listen to
And the
this.
Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, Go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother.
Now, this is part of a custom that we're supposed to do. If a brother that's married to a wife died, they were supposed to go and have a child with the widow to raise up a son or child to keep on the lineage, the history of the fallen brother. I don't know if they still practice in some countries now. It was a very honorable thing at that point. So it wasn't just to go there and just go there to have, fornication, to have, intercourse. To say, oh, this is great. But these wicked sons of Judah, man, the name was called E-R, right? These wicked sons of Judah, some of them are wicked. Because if you live in sin, you conceive sin. So what they did, they went and they said, okay, we'll go raise up seed unto our brother. But then out of wickedness, decided to spill the seed on the ground. Spill the stuff on the ground, that sperm, spill it on the ground. Sperm is where the life is. That's to help to fertilize the eggs in the female. Parental discretion advised. The Bible puts it there straight up. I mean, honestly, some other things the kids have seen on the videos nowadays and what they're hearing about in school and other things they've seen in the magazines everywhere. I didn't tell them the truth. It's not time to tell them the truth. So if maybe you have to have to talk with your family, I don't mean to push it on you like, say, I don't want, like when the time comes. Here's something. If we don't tell the kids the truth early, and earlier now, they will learn it the hard way or the wrong way. Tell them, if you put these two together, you get a child. If you put it together before the time, you can get a child and also a headache, and life headache, and trauma, and troubles. You may be blessed in some things too, but people can then use that same act and practice to enslave others and to brainwash others and to trick others. So we gotta be careful. I call it a loaded gun. Be careful. Don't play Russian roulette with your life or with other people's lives. Be careful. Okay? Ladies, take care of yourself. Don't feel like you have to compromise. Give your body, sell yourself short just because I need to get a man, I need to get a husband, I get married, nobody wants me, I'm not as cute, not as pretty. Sell yourself out and walk around naked and nude thinking, oh, they'll love me then. They'll take what you got and they'll run and leave you and spit in your face. Most times. Okay? And guys, respect the women. Treat them, they're like sisters and family. And, that can be a potential mom. Let's be a mother and birth another nation. Treat women respectfully, kindly. Not as some harlot or some prostitute as you see in some of these circles. But again, people will treat you how you let yourself be treated in these circles. So women have a very important role to play in society, and they need to speak up and say, hey, here I am. Don't step on me. Don't walk on me, man. Don't tread on me. And guys, the same way. Don't walk over them. But be careful what you do with yourselves, and be careful how you raise up your children. Judah had these two sons, and they seem to raise up, not have the proper batopsy, they say in some circles. They didn't have the proper behavior. Because when they're now supposed to do the honorable deed of raising up a child for the fallen brother, they decide to go there and do the task, have their fun and pleasure in it, and then when time to go to help the seed to be fertilize the eggs, they spill it on the floor. God dealt with them for that. God don't like people doing folly and wickedness, so God deal with him for that. Put it nicely, and because I'll read it in a way, but you may not understand the context how it's written in the Bible, but God struck them dead for that. When they decide to take what God made honorable and to go out and to spill the seed on the floor and dishonor God's name and to mock God and what he did, struck dead. Telling people, God will step in and do that strange thing. They say they wonder, how would God take life? When he sees that his name is mocked, vengeance is his. He will do it. So I tell people, I'll speak to myself as well, do it God's way.
And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother.
Wickedness.
And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, Lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hira, the Adulamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, Wilt thou give me a pledge, till thou send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give thee? And she said, Thy signet, and thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it her, and came in unto her. And she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not.
Pause here. Pause here. That's a very interesting story. If I hope you understand it, the context. So the idea was, if you have a son, remember same thing. The sons would be going to raise up the seed for the other brother that's fallen. So Judah had another son, the third son. He said, hey, he's probably saying, the first two went and died when he tried to go in and give a child. The third one, he's like, I don't know. Maybe he said, I don't know. Maybe thinking maybe we should just leave off on this thing. Maybe. Either way, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. One. And then he went again to sleep with see another woman, a harlot again. He said, a prostitute. He said, I'm going to go there and have my deed and have my pleasure. Lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh. Let's go there and do his deed. She said, can I sleep with you? Can I do what I want to do? He said, why would you do that for me? And here's another thing. They held women to a different standard at that time. Women, even sometimes they too. If a woman was in that circle, if the woman was caught to be playing around, messing around with other men, even though she was a widow, when told that the father-in-law would then give her another chance to give her another like a husband, or at least a seed to help the child to take care of her. If she was caught to be playing the folly, she would be stoned to death or put to death for that. So women were always threatened with death and persecution and killings if they were not doing it the way the men determined it should be done. Because they find she wrought fall in God's eyes. But I don't see the father Judah doing the right thing in God's eyes either, by going to sleep with harlots that are not his wife. So how are you going to say one standard for me but another standard for you? And you think it's okay. So he went and did this, and she said, give me a pledge. I know that you will give me something. And you see, in that time, it's like money or currency. I don't have dollar bills and gold coins that they have today. But they said, I'll give you a kid, a lamb, a goat. And I'll give you some other stuff. You mess around, you have a goat. And some people say, this is really sensational. This is something. People can take it as what it is. Some people can take it and be turned on by it. Some people can be like, okay. But this is the cultural context of how it's used. So I'm giving you straight as the Bible said. Don't get mad at me if I'm telling this. Please forgive me if you're offensive to anybody. I'm not trying to offend. I'm just saying, let's read the Bible as it is. Let's take it as it is. It's telling us about the character of people, including ourselves. How we should live ourselves. What should we do and what we thinking. Because nowadays, you look at everyone thinking nowadays, the minute you see a guy and a girl together, either sleeping around or sleeping together or something, or they should sleep together, should sleep around, or something going on. Everybody's mind is on sex. I mean, focus on God's word, the message. So this is not just about the act of what they did, but the act of how their character, what they did in their character, in honoring or dishonoring God, with their bodies and themselves. When you do it God's way, you get rewarded. When you do it the world's way, or selfish man's way, struck by death. So Judah made a pledge to her. Let me sleep with you, and then I'll give you a gift back. She tricked him because she said, listen, I see that you said you're going to give me one of your sons to help me to raise up seed. I need to give me a child, so I'll have a child, so I can carry up my husband's name that has fallen. And Judah didn't give her the child. He could have done it himself. But he didn't give it. He didn't do that. He didn't volunteer. Maybe he thought he might be dead too, right? And he didn't He didn't let the son he had older give her a son. I mean, give her a child. She said, "Hey, he's tricking me. I know he likes women, let me play a trick on him. So he tricked and he got tricked back. So, this is what goes on comes around. So he got tricked into giving her a child that she needed for her. Now when he finds out, now he's upset. Because he thinks she's messing around when she was told she should have behaved herself. Was he behaving himself? What a double standard. And yet, coming down to the later on in the story, into the story in the Bible, we're sure that we're linked and we're still tied in the same family. Lion of the tribe of. You hear many songs and reggae music and everything talking about Lion of the tribe of Judah. So how does Judah change later on? Remember, Joseph is already sold into slavery down into Egypt. Judah is there now, not the eldest, but one of them, one of the brothers there, and they're now trying to live life out. We're hearing a different story. You know when they put the movies on, they have like one scene, another scene. So Joseph is working in Egypt, trying to get his best to survive there. Judah and the other brothers, the other 11, are trying to survive here on this side. And we're hearing about the deeds of the other brothers and seeing how they all will, and we'll see how they all finally come together in Egypt through the orchestrating of events that God set in place that brings all the stories together, even through on unanticipated means, by giving the dreams to Pharaoh, to then bring Joseph to do something for him, to then later have him then reunite with his family later on. It's amazing how the God puts this stuff together. And they say, how did God know? Why didn't God tell Joseph this was going to happen? He had a dream about the sheaves and the moon and stars, but how was he not given the details? The details to know how. Does God have to give us the details of how he's going to make things work out for us? Did he give it to them? No. Did he tell Adam everything how he's going to redeem mankind back? No. He didn't tell us everything how he's going to do it, but he did it. And now we're living because of what he did, and better off, because if this disaster that happened to Egypt and other areas happened and they didn't go down to be saved in Egypt, they could have been destroyed. Look at also what happened to. Do you remember also Jesus, when Jesus was being persecuted by Herod? Where did Mary and Joseph take him to be saved from Herod? Was it not in Egypt again? Yet Egypt has a bad history and chronology of history stuff. I mean, I should go over there. The sun is not as bright now. The sun is over here now, me now. It's like roasting me now. Maybe I'll go over there and put it to the table. Pardon me, sir. Let me pause for a minute. We catch it. Right? Let me go under the table over there. As I'm gonna shade there. Okay. We got out of that spot with all the ants getting at us to come move over here. We brought a little contraption with us over here. Contraption, not in a bad way. Just kind of describing what's going on by yourself right here, trying to move around everything. It's a lot of stuff that goes into the background. This stuff, we try to keep hidden, but if you've seen our videos enough, it's like, yeah, they keep it real, all right. They're all in everything, They trying everything. Let's see. Okay, let's start back. Here we go.
Then he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? Mm-hmm. And they said, There was no harlot in this place. Mm-hmm. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, Let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, hath played the harlot. And also, behold, she is with child by whoredom.
You see this?
And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose these are, am I with child. And she said, Discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet, and bracelets, and staff.
Mm-hmm.
And Judah acknowledged them, and said, She hath been more righteous than I. Mm-hmm. Because that I gave her not to Shelah my son. And he knew her again no more.
See?
And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, This came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that, behold, his brother came out. And she said, How hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez. And afterward came out his brother, that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah.
That sounds kind of familiar. Remember with Esau and Jacob? A lot of things have similarities. But now hear the next part of the story. Joseph's side now. Chapter 39.
Genesis 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house. And all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person, and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife.
Right.
How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
Against God.
And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day,
Not only once.
that he hearkened not unto her,
Right.
to lie by her, or to be with her.
Still resisted.
And it came to pass about this time, that Joseph went into the house to do his business,
Set him up.
and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house, and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us.
See?
He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice.
Have anyone been wrongly accused of such fashion? She tried to tempt him and entice him many times, and he resisted and refused and ran. Left. Some people movement running. I mean, I think he just probably just kind of, she probably hold on to himself. He just probably pulled away. But he left. And for doing a righteous thing, trying to be honorable to both her and her husband, but mainly to God, he didn't have to suffer for it. And the penalty for taking another man's wife in Egypt, adultery, was death, including the death of, in the Bible, it's death. But Joseph did not do anything wrong. But she lied. And the other says, hell hath no fear as woman scorned. But what did people believe? They believed what they heard. Woman looked like she's been, how she went up decked herself and she portrayed herself as being ravished or whatever, Have there been any such false accusations in the past? Remember some things back in different college areas and fraternities, in different people in high up in presidential areas? Have anybody brought false accusations that he did this? Lawsuits and this and this. And all women must be believed, the Me Too movement, all that stuff. A lot of things have been brought up over the past. I mean, history. Some things are true, some things are not. I mean, you can mention, you name the stories. Men and women always seem to be in some psychological, political, physical, legal scuffles of some sort. They two need each other, and yet they're always in something. Rubber band love or rubber band something. But Joseph did the right thing in this case. Honorable. Left her to her schemes. Could imagine if he did that. What happened then? And he found out he would have been hiding it from Potiphar and hiding it from the people and then living in sin against God after he'd been through so much. Thank God he had the sense to know not to do that. But what about Judah? Judah seemed to have gone something else. He wanted his own business going on. What about the other brothers? Laying with his wife, laying with one of his father's wives. But somehow Joseph seemed to have been a good boy, despite all he went through. And young too. So why, remember I said before, sometimes the parents can see something. Remember God says a parent can often tell what kind of personality or character the child are. And sometimes, you put the one that's doing the one that's most reliable. You say, hey, keep an eye on your brothers and sisters for me. Just watch them, make sure they're good, just in case they get out of things. Let me know. Give me, give me a report. Yeah, no phones and stuff back then. To call and text and send a message. Yeah, just tell me what happened, okay? At least I can trust your report. You tell me. You seem to be honest. Tell me the truth. So You're a good child. He was from the first, he was from the wife he wanted, the desired. He wanted it. Joseph came from Rachel, the wife he wanted. He worked 7 years for, and it was tricked. And he didn't get to have, Jacob didn't get to have Rachel until 14th year, because he got tricked into marrying Leah first by the father of Leah and Rachel. And Rachel was the younger one. Leah was the older. I think Rachel was more pretty. Leah was not as good. I think she had bad eyes, but she could make a lot of kids. Just popping them out. She was having kids like crazy. She got blessed with kids like crazy. But Rachel couldn't have children at all. Very, very late in the game, and then she finally got blessed with one, and then later on with Benjamin. And remember, she died on the route with Benjamin in childbirth. So it's a lot of interest and history between this, what goes on here. But you don't hear these stories mentioned in the Bible. You don't hear them mentioned in most of the times people speaking. Maybe a really focused in church or focused pastors. Let me get the message into it, and let them know what's going on. Let them see the truth. Let them see everything there. But we didn't hear about the big stories, the same old stories all the time. We has David and Goliath, David and Saul, Adam and Eve, Joseph, Jesus, and the disciples. We want the details also of the inner workings of other people. We want to see more lives. Daniel and lions. What else? What did Daniel go through? What about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? What else? What about Nebuchadnezzar being turned into a beast when he had to, for 7 years, when the kingdom was taken from him and then given back to him later? Belteshazzar and stuff. What about Daniel? What about the prophecy, the prophetic mentions of after Daniel? When Gabriel was trying to come to give him the message that he was praying for discernment of a dream that God was giving him about the world events and the world empires. From Egypt into Babylon into Media Persia, and Media Persia into Greece, and Greece into Rome, into present day, after papal Rome. He's trying to, it's like, what about those details? A lot of people leave it out. Not with God. He said, nah, go study it. I got food in my tea. I'm still trying to finish the food. I'm all over the place, bouncing between the heat and here and there. I'm trying to get this stuff. So let me continue, let it play. But just saying, Joseph did something very honorable. Let's see if he's rewarded for it. I have to look to make sure I wasn't pausing. Last time I paused, the video cut off. Make sure.
And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled, and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her, until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him, and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound.
Now, interesting. I think Potiphar knew what was up. He knew Joseph was a good man, but how can he then have this thing? Then you're going to believe the word of a Hebrew, a slave over the word of your wife? How would he look? How can he save face? Remember, the punishment, the penalty for adultery against an Egyptian's wife was death. He didn't get death. He got prison. It's not prison like you see now where you get 3-course meal and have food. I mean, it's hard life there too. But Potiphar gave him prison life. Potiphar was captain of the guard. He can say, hey, kill him. But he gave him prison. Did Potiphar know something about his wife? Did he know that she maybe did he find out maybe she's used to doing this kind of stuff? How would you feel when your partner has been cheating on you or sleeping around, doing other stuff? Husband or wife? Or being unfaithful? I mean, what kind of disease you can get and all kind of stuff? I mean, AIDS and other things can kill yourself with STDs and stuff. Other things too. I mean, it's like, oh man, imagine things are now where you are now. Imagine back then how you hide and cover up these things. And almost every time you see anybody having some bad relations in the Bible, somebody's pregnant, something happens here. But it's like, wow. So it's nothing new. These things are going on since back then. And you see now they make big movies out of these blockbuster stuff. It's always that, infamy, intrigue, man and woman doing something. 50 Shades of Grey, or some kind of thing, right? Some kind of passionate, heated, love, romantic stuff, some scene somewhere. All this drama to make things look so, And then it's like, when the reality hits, somebody's hiding somewhere. Death and destruction, mayhem, something. And it's like, and if your husband and wife can do that, go for it. Have fun. Make it most passionate. Have it intimate. Go and do it. Go out, have fun. Give God praise. But the other people that are not married, don't do that. Don't sell yourself short. Don't get shortchanged, especially ladies. They can get the short end of the stick, as the term goes, you know. I call it shoplifting. They don't want to pay for the product, so they rather just take and run. Slam, bam, thank you. You know, people, there's nothing new. You seen those videos, people walking with mirrors under their phones, secret cameras hidden in the bathrooms, hidden on shampoo bottles, hidden in all these places here to watch and spy on women. People are still creeps. Secret peepholes and all this stuff and things they're doing, still trying to spy on. Some ladies know what the guys are looking for too, so they kind of give them what they want, show them something, show them a little teaser, a little skin, a little flesh, a little something here, a little something here, saying, hey, you like it? Let them pay for it. Go dancing, Hooters, the pole dancers. I heard they have restaurants now where they have thing where the waitresses are there, and they're having skirts, and the floor is full of mirrors, and they don't have any underwear. Seriously, man? Wow. It's like somebody like, where? It's in another country, but I'm not sure. I'm sure. Well, yeah, but they have also heard they also got nudist colonies over here too and stuff, nudist places, and I'm like, why are people so fascinated with the human body and this lustful passion and stuff? Why are they so fascinated with the human body? Some say it's like wear clothes, but I'm like, do you ever heard about a nudist colony of just men or nudist colony of just women? I think it's just Temptation Alley. That's me personally. Because they tend to do men and women, and you kind of watch and see, and it's like, ooh, you're enticed, you turn on. I mean, you see a naked body and see a woman or man. You say, oh, you get used to it after a while. Some people. But I'm just saying, don't put yourself. God said, can a person take fire in their bosoms and their clothes not get burned? So let's not mess with that kind of stuff. Let's just keep it simple. But going back to Joseph and stuff and Potiphar. Even back then, they would have this stuff back then too. Even more salacious and scandalous, who knows? There's not as much of this thing, cameras and stuff and all these different ways of spying and things of being caught nowadays. You know, unless you finally show pregnancy. But, you know, like in Tamar's case, she was 3 months pregnant. It's like, hey, Judah's like, hey, she's messing around? Go get her. And he was the one that's messing around. But women always giving up bad light. But the Egyptians, I think there's a lot of power Egyptian women had in their circles. But a lot of shame and image and stuff they would have if you're not faithful, not able to satisfy your wife. Maybe you. What about them? Maybe he's captain of the guard. He's busy. He's doing a lot of work. Maybe he's like the FBI says. He's busy doing work here and there. So the wife is like, hey, I'm home. I'm bored. I need something to do. She should go work in a farm. She should go work. She should give her a job to do. She should be the one cleaning the house and take care of stuff. Why shouldn't do that? Laziness or just what? Idleness or just I don't want my wife to work. She let her have a life of just being pampered and well, she's pampered so much that now she's looking around for something to do. She wants like a kitty cat. She wants to play. Mess up somebody's life. She mashed up the man's life. Man. And they say, man, we fall for it a lot, boy. Ladies can really put a twist on us. Can really work us over, huh? Lord, give us strength to resist these temptations. They come at us, but I'm always telling you one. It's like, if it was me and someone do that, would you run? We all think about that. Can we be a Joseph and run? Or just like, Can we just say, no, not to sin against God, and not to sin against my fellow brother and sister, not to sin against... Would you be able to resist? Ladies, I think, have more resistance than guys do. You know, they're able to kind of weigh the options. They said they think with both sides of their brain. If I do, what I get from it? They always say ladies take longer to warm up, and when they get warm, they go. But then guys, they're ready to go all the time, and then it's like, then then they check out. So it's like, it's such an interesting thing how God made men and women and how different. But I don't think that the bad side of the personalities of the lustful passions and the wickedness and the vices, that's not of God. That's satanic stuff in there. We have to overcome those satanic things and be able to control the spirit that we have in the spirit, or the spirits are trying to govern us. You know, we need to be governed by the Holy Spirit, not by any spirit of passion and lust, falling in the limbic system or those base passions, carnal sides of the body. And it's becoming a bigger and bigger temptation. And look at here's something else. It's a little tangent. It's a tangent, but here I'm going with this. If you notice, there's some political parties and some groups that seem to only want to push this kind of sensuality and sexualization of our children, of our males, our boys and girls, and trying to get rid of men in general, and trying to get rid of women in general too. All they want to focus on is sex. Sensuality, pleasure. Parental discretion advised. I should put that in this one, right? It's like just for strong language. Well, I'm not cursing. Just speaking the truth, speaking what the Bible says. Whoredom, fornication, and just speaking the truth. So, I mean, I don't think if it's coming from the Bible, I don't think it's discretion advised. Just be like, hey, guard the avenues of your mind, and just make sure to tell your children the truth. You know? Don't let anybody touch them. Don't let anybody do anything bad to them. And make sure to do the right thing in the right time as God puts it. And that's where it's better. Threefold cord, him, her, and God in the middle, makes it better. No, he's not in a threesome. God is just saying, when God is in the heart and God is in the mind, he makes everything work better. But to go there to have, I just want to do something because I just want to see what it is. I'm curious. You know, curiosity killer. I'm just curious what it is. Sometimes maybe your first, maybe your last. Sometimes they're curious, like they want to try cocaine and drugs and they get hooked on it and they think. Because it can be, sex can be an aphrodisiac and also be addictive. Some people can, what they call nymphomaniac, all kind of stuff they can have. All kind of weird stuff. But it can be very addictive. And some cultures, remember, some cultures, the religion was just to go there and have, have fornication. And that was the whole religious service. Some people still do it. And I'm still worrying about what these nude colonies are about. What these people they want to do, all this stuff. But a lot of stuff I want to tell you guys, but I can't say what I want to say right now. Because then I'm like, is this boring? Is it hearing too much? Is it going to make people get bad? And sometimes you hear stuff, but those kind of stuff, it makes you want to go watch things that you shouldn't watch and do things you shouldn't. Like, so maybe I'll just keep it simple and say, the Bible puts a lot of stories there that we're not used to, maybe not comfortable talking about. But I think he put it there because we have to get used to these and to get comfortable talking about it. Because if we don't talk about it, we might end up living it. So we got to say, hey, prepare. As I said, if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. So we got to plan in preparation ahead, how to resist temptation. Don't go getting yourself enticed and being left in an area by yourself with somebody who keeps trying to hit on you. Just watch it for the music and they want to take you to drink, to a bar, to a club. If you meet somebody in a bar or club, that's not wrong. That's a problem already. They want to take you to eat a lot of food and, in the area and give you alcohol and things to drink and make you get sleepy and stuff. Or make you take it like you get so excited, you just love it, you just get caught up in your emotions, feelings. The next you know, you're getting undressed. Date rape, drugs, all kind of stuff. A lot of bad things can happen. Be careful who you link up with. It's best to go dating in a group setting or in a public setting with people that you know who can look out for you and say, hey, be careful. You're going to put something. So ladies, be careful. Don't just think because I'm older, I'm 18, or I'm a teenager, they trust me. I have my phone. There's cameras here. I know how to call Uber. I saw a video last week of a Uber driver. That was weird. It was Lyft driver who supposedly took an intoxicated woman home. And he said somehow she's stumbling on her feet. So he noticed she was drunk. She's trying to stumble. She's stumbling around. She can't find her keys around the house. So what he did, he knew what he's up to. He parked the car further down the block. Then came out to try to help her sister. But the way he's assisting her, he has his hands on her chest, her boobs. And every time she's falling, he's holding her hands on her butt. So he's groping her, top and bottom, and trying to say, I'm going to help you up. I'm going to help you up. I'm going to help you up. Let me help you fall. I'm going to help you. And so you don't fall, I'm going to help you. He's helping himself. Pervert, sicko. What do you think happened if he had managed to open the doors and the keys? Thank God one of our neighbors came out and said, hey, I see this guy is groping and holding on my neighbor in the front there. Thank God a neighbor saw what the other guy was doing to this drunken lady. First of all, I said to the lady, you should not drink. Because these things can happen to you or worse. And you might even remember anything. She didn't remember anything happened. But then later she saw the ring door camera recorded and said, oh, I did this? He did that to me? What does it say? She said, I had a night party with my friends. I was drinking responsibly. It is irresponsible to take even the first sip. What God says, wine is raising strong drinkers a mocker. Him or her who's deceived thereby is not wise. Do not drink alcoholic beverages. It will make you lose your wisdom and your judgment and your discretion and our chance to fight against temptation. When actually we brought into areas we don't want to be, in places we don't want to be. Most times, I bet you, most of the violence and crime happening in this world, I believe right now and stuff, other than just from wickedness, just base wickedness, it's alcohol induced. The alcohol, somewhere in the picture. Domestic violence, drinking, smoking, something in there. But so she saw herself getting groped and felt up, and she would have had more done to her, possibly raped, assaulted, if the neighbor didn't say, hey, what are you doing there? And the guy kind of, oh, yeah, she's good, and he kind of scurried off and left her alone. But imagine if nobody was there. Imagine if a guy wasn't there. You know, when a guy isn't there in the picture, a guy is there to be next to you and let your ladies. That's why I say, man, we need you to be around and help your ladies, your brothers and sisters. But be there for your children, especially your daughters and the women. And we need to protect our women. Okay? If he wasn't there, and when women are walking unaccompanied, they are more in danger than if they have accompaniment. I'm not saying now with this thing of Sharia law and stuff you see of Muslims where they say women must be accompanied by a chaperone. I'm not saying that. If you don't chaperone your sister, or chaperone a date, or chaperone, I can understand that. But just to go, women, she can't drive, she can't do anything at all. Like you don't have no trust in her. But the men can do what they want. Have money, wives, girlfriends, do what they want to have illicit sexual relations with how many people they want, how many partners they want to. But the girls can't do anything. I'm like, another double standard again, hypocrisy again. And women at the short end of the stick, to put it. But then get the stick if she does wrong. So I'm saying it's like, we gotta be honest and real with ourselves. Don't drink, don't do these things, but tell people the truth. please, and be careful where we put ourselves in situations. Must make sure we be our brother, sister's keeper. So it's a tangent aside, but it's just as applicable. We need to look out for each other, even at our weakest moments. Ladies, if you see a guy's getting weak and he can't control himself anymore, say, listen, stop, check. Don't give him more flesh and skin to show to make him more weak and think, trying to bag a man. You're gonna get yourself bagged into something else. Might be bagged and put on the ground. And guys, if you see ladies trying to tease you, splitting legs, doing legs, showing boobs, showing stuff, cleavage, showing this, and trying to make you smell and all this stuff, sometimes just say, thank you, God bless you, see you later, and leave. Okay? Make sure she, and another thing too, if you drop a girl home on a date or something, please wait for her to get into the house. Wait for her to get in. Wait your car there and wait for her to get into the house. Make sure she's safe and she goes inside safely. Even when they go in, I say, call me. You good? You okay? You got there? Okay, good. Hopefully some other relatives are home too. But don't drop them off and drive off. Sometimes it's even some of these car companies, they drop the ladies off and they just take off. I'm like, don't they wait and see if anybody's safe? I mean, this time it is. I don't trust nobody out there. A lot of sickos and criminals out there. I mean, you got to protect them. Some people like, people be like, don't wait for me, I'm a lady, I can take care of myself. And they have all the videos of them of people doing things and bad things. The ladies say, I don't need a man around me, I can do it myself. And ladies are being attacked, assaulted, or hurting themselves again. It's like, we don't even know what we need for ourselves. We need to be looking out for each other. That's how I put it, simply. We need to look out for each other. So let me stop talking so my food doesn't spoil. But I'm just saying, we need to take it seriously and look out for our brothers and sisters. Because a lot of things are happening, and people are saying, it's like, we're in a new age. We can do what we want. It's my life. I can do what I want. It's your life, but it's God's gift, and we cannot do what we want, though we may try to. But it comes at a price.
And he was there in the prison.
Joseph in prison.
The Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
Mm-hmm.
And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it.
Mm-hmm.
The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper.
So even in that calamity, God was still giving him favor and showing him, you can make it work. God was hooking him up. Very nice.
Genesis 40. And it came to pass, after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season in ward.
Now, I'm going to end it here to let you guys understand. It's so amazing how... No, I'll finish up. It's so amazing. Thank you. It's so amazing how God is putting different pieces together in a puzzle. It's a lot of stuff you hear right now. So I know it's probably like, he's all over the place with everything going on. So we just keep it real. We keep the story going. Because you've seen real life. I'm not here to edit and try to make perfect thing. I mean, we got life is so busy. I'm like, we're just trying to keep my hat on. See, I don't have. Keep my hair on my head. But look how God is allowing different situations to kind of fall into place and to be set up here. Now we have two other people get arrested and put into prison with Joseph. That's close to Pharaoh. I mean, I can look at it now, seeing how, I'm reading the story, see how it is. After Joseph has just been going through the harshest thing, been sold into slavery by his brother, betrayed and been lied upon, been accused of rape and assault, has made a slave. Now he's lonely, has no family members around him, he's abandoned by himself. No one else around him. He thought his brothers would look out for him, but they sold him away. They sold him out. They let him go through calamity. And now he's cast in prison and he's helping. And at the same time he's getting the bad things, God is showing him, hey, I'm with you still. I'm giving you a good favor. I'm hooking you up. Potiphar didn't kill him because Potiphar believed he's a good man. And God must have softened his heart to let him understand, your wife is the one that did the wrong, not Joseph. So he's in prison there. And then at the same time, while he's in prison, the keeper said, this guy is very special, unique. Something about Joseph is very different. He's not like the other people. And he put everything in his hand. You know, so wherever Joseph went to do something, like with Potiphar, they put everything in his hand and said, listen, you are a good character. Somehow, thank God, Jacob trained him in such a way, and he was listening to God's leading, that he learned to be a good boy. and a responsible young man, a responsible adult, that he can take that learning lesson from childhood into adulthood so that he can learn to be responsible and to learn how to resist temptation and to learn to be strong. He got a wife later on. You know, he got a wife and got kids later on too, but he did the right thing by resisting temptation and not falling for it and being tricked into this stuff. And he even learned different skills and things. He can also learn to write Egyptian and all this stuff. He learned a lot. Very industrious. That's why, you know, and he's very blessed. He's very honorable. And that's why the father was trusting him so much to be able to look out for his other brothers, even though they were older than him. So I would love for God to be able to call us a Joseph, you know. So yeah, story time with Uncle Joe. Let's see. We'll leave it off here. So Pharaoh's butler and baker are imprisoned, and Joseph is going to have an interaction with them. Let's see. We'll end it here, and we'll catch up with that one next one, okay? God bless you guys.